What's up, gamers? The Red Dragon here, and we are checking out the latest Battlefield 3 patch notes. Now, these notes just came out. They're going to be released tomorrow on PS3, Xbox, and PC. So as I go through here, again, what I've done is that, as I've done in past videos, is I've highlighted the things that I think are important that I'll kind of mention. And if you want to see more, then you can just pause the video and check that out for yourself. So we'll start things off with the weapons balancing. They've mentioned that several weapons, the reload animation and timer have been synced finally. They've also said that this is actually going to help the performance of some of the weapons. And I guess the one that I like is the AEK, short and long reload, has been reduced. So I usually get caught a lot of times while reloading that particular weapon, and that's one of my favorites if you've been watching my channel. So there you go, there's some weapon balancing. Damage output, range adjustments, there's a ton of these. I'm not going to really go over several of them, but they're there if you want to go check it out. While you look at this, I will mention that a lot of people always ask how big the file sizes are going to be, because I know some people, you know, they have kind of low hardware space, and it looks like if you're on the PC, you're going to get it at like 2 gigs, which ain't going to really bother you because you're on PC. But if you're on the Xbox and PS3, it's going to be 1.5 gigs approximately to download this patch. Now, even though tomorrow the PS3, they're actually going to get Armored Kill, and the rest of us have to wait. Again, like I said, the patch is going to go ahead and be dropped on everybody. So we'll all have to wait on, if we're on Xbox or PC, for the Armored Kill expansion pack, but we will go ahead and get this patch. One thing to note, increased bullet velocity on the heavy machine guns, making it easier to hit targets over long range. So it's always good. Another big factor, M16, increased recoil on that and the M4A1 to make it less attractive. So I know that's one of the guns that everybody likes to go to, especially for starting out. And they said they've actually improved the G3 and the M416 as far as that goes. We'll move on down a little bit further. The burst version of weapons give the player a reduction in horizontal recoil for greater control. So I don't really use the burst version in pretty much any gun that I use. If I'm going to burst fire, I usually kind of do it on my own. I leave it on full auto unless I'm going long distance, and then if I'm trying to aim really long distance, then I'll probably put it into single shot. But for the most part, I really don't use the burst fire. But if you do, then that has been improved. Now, here's some things that are very noteworthy. The Stinger missiles that lock onto air vehicles, they've been improved at both lower altitudes and longer distances. So you're going to be able to lock on stuff at a further distance. Okay, so helicopters, watch out. And that's not the only thing you're going to have to watch out for when it comes to these notes. Also, it says bipods on several weapons. It's been increased, the bonuses, to help you out there. And belt-fed machine guns, which I'm always using the M249 usually on Operation Metro. It says they've been improved as far as accuracy goes when standing and firing while aiming. So that'll help me out a little bit. Alright, then we'll move on down a little bit further. They've got more weapon fixes. Again, just pause the video or go back if you need to look through any of this other stuff. Several weapon fixes. Again, if you don't have your own favorite weapon that you use, or if you're like me and you just grab something, a lot of this probably you're not going to know. I just wait for somebody to tell me, hey, this is a good weapon to try out, so I go and do it. But I don't really get involved in far as each little gun, and I know every single detail about it. I just don't do that. So, all right, so here's the other thing. This is the big thing that I found in this whole patch note thing. This is a big change. Big change. Remove the flares from gunners for helicopters. Now that's really going to change things around. They said that it was pretty much If you had two people who had flares and were really good at communicating, you could pretty much be unstoppable. But I didn't see that happening because I've never had a helicopter we couldn't deal with. If we worked as a team and we communicated and said, hey, I'm going to fire this, when you fire it immediately afterwards, a lot of times you can disable a helicopter and take it down. But regardless, they have removed the flares for gunners. So that's going to be a pretty big game changer, I do believe. Air radar now shows friendly vehicles. Helicopter weapons can destroy equipment, and it says splash damage. It acts like the splash damage has been improved, so even though you might get shot down easier, it is going to be easier for you to destroy stuff, apparently. Laser designator on the scout helicopters. This is now going to be in the hands of a co-pilot. So before, wasn't really nothing much to do if you're riding along, but now if you're in the position 4 seat of the scout helicopter, you can use a laser designator just like the CITV turret in the battle tanks. So now there's a reason to have people riding around with you. Repair tool damage against enemy vehicles lowered by 10%. I don't know if that really makes a difference. I've killed a few people in vehicles with the repair tool, but not that many to really make a change in the game. Change reload behavior on tank and tank destroyers so that it will prevent it from you firing one and then switching to the other and then firing another one. So some people have gotten really good with that. I know that's a technique for a lot of tank people out there. So you're going to have to come up with a new technique or back away and let your gun reload if you want to be able to do that. Increase the damage helicopter and jet rockets do to helicopters, jets, and infantry. So again, they're trying to make up, I think, for being able to be taken down easier in the helicopter. They're going to give you a little bit more power. Increase the damage helicopter gunners and IFVs do to helicopters and jets. I don't think that's a problem because a lot of times I'll be just drilling an enemy helicopter and it's like nothing. Fix jets not getting top attack damage bonuses when laser designated targets. So if you've got a buddy on the ground designating laser targets, hopefully the jets will be a little bit more effective. Now we go down and we have some more related tweaks and fixes. Not much. Most of this has to deal with assignments and the way scores are calculated. So some of you might be interested to know that if you go after these medals and stuff. I really don't pay that much attention. If I get it, I get it. We'll go on down a little bit further, and then these are just kind of user interface tweaks and fixes. It's got several. Some are PC specific, so I wouldn't know what's going on there. Added letters to capture point icons displayed directly over the minimap. That's that one there. Fix though that the spawn menu always disappears when you are revived. Thank goodness, because I have no idea how many times that I've been revived and I've got the freaking menu up in front of me. At the same time, I see a guy that I'm trying to shoot, and it's just a pain. Before, I finally figured out, and I guess I should have done a video on that because I'm sure a lot of people did that, but you just have to press start, but it doesn't matter now, so they're going to fix that. So you don't have the menu popping up. And then somebody on Twitter said there was nothing done to the mortar strike. Well, I found one thing where now explosions are shown on the HUD for the shooter, but they're still didn't increase the effectiveness of that, obviously. And then a few more tweaks. Fixed a bug where it was possible to shoot while transitioning from sprint into prone. I never got that. A lot of times I am bad about this, though, and I hate it. And it's just my own fault. It's not the game's fault. I'm not one of those who complains until they put out a release patch for it. But a lot of times I'll be holding the controller. I guess I just put too much pressure on it, and I'll be going into a dive when I'm just trying to shoot. I see somebody and I'll go into prone, but I haven't had it happening where I'll be shooting still while I'm going in prone. But I guess I sure won't have it happening now. And then fix 2 exploits on Fortress where players could get on top of the level. But I have seen a ton of videos, those QED videos that sometimes I link and like. Houdini, he does a good job putting those out, kind of like a just kind of a public statement saying, hey, there's a bunch of glitches and stuff. So I know that they can get in the top of Operation Metro, and they do all kinds of glitches in several other maps. And he's got a ton of videos out there showing that there's so many glitches and problems with the games, but it looks like they're only addressing this one. So, Fortress. So, there you go. That is the patch release notes for Battlefield 3 September. And what do you think? What is your favorite thing about the patch notes? What's your least favorite? And what do you think about flares being removed from gunners? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Helicopter pilots, you're going to have to really pay attention now. Use the terrain. Use those buildings in order to get behind cover and duck if you got oncoming missiles, because you're not going to have the flares to rely on now. Well, that does it for me, The Red Dragon. Be sure you comment, like, subscribe. It's really hard to do this all in one setting and not screw up, which I think I pretty much did for the most part, with a few hiccups. I'm okay with that, though, and I hope you are too. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.